Arenal village is quite unique in its geography. It lies smack in the middle of the Belize-Guatemala border. Half of the village is Belizean territory, and the other half is for Guatemala. In the center of the village, the unofficial demarcation is this football field, where the left side is Belize's and the right side is Guatemala's. If you're not from the village, it's quite easy for you to wander onto the Guatemalan side of the village illegally, with just a few steps. When you look around the village, the homes, the people, the way of life look so similar and may be difficult to differentiate. And the people, for the most part, live in peace with each other. They usually move easily and freely between the two countries. For most of the villagers, the proximity has never really been a problem to their way of life. But during a pandemic, it's a different story. While movement of people has slowed down big time, it still continues to happen. And this poses a serious risk, where one infected person can reintroduce COVID-19 to Belize. But how much of a concern is this to the village leader?
From 1 to 10, I can say that 10, because as you know, there are positive cases right there, right outside there. So it could be easily. That's why we are working hard in trying to educate and warn our people. No, that don't go there. Don't go to buy nothing from Melchor. Well, no Belizean is going to Melchor. No, so but it's very risky. This no.
Mm-hmm. Are your villagers here in Arenal cooperating by not
Yes,
going over?
yes, they are doing. They are doing.
So the problem right now would be the people coming over here.
The people coming over here. That's it.
It's quite easy to move back and forth on both sides. People cross over for different reasons. Many for job opportunities, some to visit family and friends, others to shop. And although Belize is heavily penalizing those who use illegal border crossings, and Guatemala has announced its own restrictions on the movement of its citizens, illegal crossings between the two sides haven't stopped. And with the closure of the official border point, that may have also pushed others to enter Belize illegally. Take for instance, this morning after 8, we were in the village and a few people were moving back and forth, walking across illegally from Guatemala to Belize, and Belize back into Guatemala. A bread vendor from over Guatemala was on the football field in his truck, on the Belize side, selling. According to residents, these movements are the usual way of life on a regular day, but for most, these times are anything but usual. Although there is no known active COVID-19 case in Arenal in Guatemala, there is a growing number of cases around the country where to date there are over 2,200 active cases. Chairman Sanchez says he's been working with his community to educate the villagers so that they can try to prevent this virus from getting into the country through his village.
You know that the border are closed, the main entries. So as you know, and all the Belizeans know that here in Belize a lot of persons are outside, especially from Guatemala. They work here in Belize, and now that we are okay out of this virus, so they will try to come in. It's easy here to cross from one side to other, no? And so that is one of our most preoccupation. And as chairman of this village, well, I have been having with my village council and talking, educating to my villagers. So to try to implement the best as we can of our measures to avoid this. And we are trying to be as much as possible out of relation with the Guatemalans.
According to Sanchez, law enforcement authorities are helping to curb these illegal crossings. There's a police station in the village, and on site we observed at least 2 BDF soldiers and a police officer. A drive around the community, however, didn't show any patrols or authorities present on the ground while we were there. It is important to note that the police station is just a stone's throw away from where people move back and forth freely between the border of Arenal in Belize and Guatemala. But as Chairman Sanchez points out, the authorities have restricted some of those who've entered illegally, but it's not easy to police this community.
Police officers, immigration, and custom officers, they are doing the best. They are trying to control this. But as you know, this is something of social conscious. That's the best. That's the best tool, no? Because people will try to find to jump in any place. It don't matter if they have to go through the mountains. The day after yesterday, I see two persons that came in, no, and they came in. They are not from here now, and so I was happy when I see the police officers that they cut them and chase it down. No, I had a report, no, that people call me that strange person, they are crossing. So as I say, no, the villagers, we are cooperating here, no, as the front line that we are here, no. So they call me, I call with the officers and we try to do our best, no.
From what we saw this morning, the risk is still high in this community. While local leaders report that Belizeans are adhering to the law, there are Guatemalans who are still entering the country illegally. And that may continue to happen as the economic blowout from COVID-19 is taking its toll on Guatemala, which may push its people to look for opportunities outside of its borders. Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.